Let's face it, Halloween is easy. When you want to celebrate All Hallows Eve with a game, all you need to do is put on one of the hundreds of horror games released in the last 40 years. But what about Christmas? Aside from that terrible Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer game or maybe Elf Bowling, there really isn't a whole lot to choose from. Your best bet is to play a game that just so happens to take place during the holiday season, like Parasite Eve or Bully. But we demand higher standards when it comes to this Game Over series. I want a game that's not merely set during Christmas time, but rather actually uses its holiday in its storytelling. That's why we're going to take a look at Boogie Wings, which is both a phenomenal shoot-'em-up and a great Christmas game. Don't believe me? Well, turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to be spoiling the story and ending for the arcade game Boogie Wings. This is Game Over, the early years. Boogie Wings has one of the greatest intros of all time. Forget about epic stories told in cinemas or walls of needless text, because this game starts with our hero running to his World War I era biplane as a flying ship outside bombs his hangar. It immediately sets up the urgency of the story and our hero's desperation for revenge. Now, in case you're wondering, you play this guy, a skilled pilot with an airplane that has a hook that can pick up objects and bad guys. He's also good on his feet, as you'll occasionally see when our plane gets shot down. He always seems to narrowly escape, allowing him to run through the action until finding another vehicle to control. This unnamed hero is going up against an army of time-traveling, mech-building scientists who seem determined to stop our hero dead in his tracks. You get a taste of the scientists' evil plan when you fly through the Carnival Island. The bright and cheerful surroundings quickly turn dark as the time-traveling Docs unleash their own version of Frankenstein's monster. This leads to one of the game's most impressive stages, where you fly around an airplane so big that you have to wonder how it even takes flight. Our goal here is to make an opening and then board the airplane for some good old-fashioned run-and-gun action. All this is going well right up until the explosion, which sends the soldiers and crates and giraffes and weapons and statues flying all over the place. Just chaos everywhere, followed by our hero shooting out a bunch of gas canisters and narrowly escaping the devastation with his life. It's just one of the most exciting levels in video game history. So, where exactly was that massive airship headed anyway? Well, it was apparently going to the Imperial Science Museum, which is a building so massive that it's safe to fly an airplane through it. Man, I absolutely love the look of the stage, with the mural on the wall and massive dinosaurs on display. Of course, the building ultimately devolves into a bunch of warehouse areas that are far less interesting. But it does make us fight a T-Rex-sized Trojan horse, and that's pretty cool. Now, what you might not realize is that all this has been going on during Christmas. In fact, the next stage is called Merry, Merry Christmas, and it features a whole town bursting with holiday cheer. I'm talking about lights and snowmen and a tree and a whole bunch more. It also does this weird thing where you fly underneath the city for a bit, only to emerge at a baseball stadium. All this leads to an insane fight against a mechanical Santa Claus who's being pushed around on a cart. Ooh, I can only imagine how horrifying all this is for those poor kids in the background apartment buildings. The final named level is called Detroit Rock City, and no, unfortunately, it has nothing to do with Kiss. It also lacks anything resembling the Christmas spirit, but don't worry, we'll get more holiday cheer in a moment. But first what we need to do is fly into the time-traveling scientist castle and learn about their motivations. Here's a little taste of that. That's right, the scientists try to get away by using a craft that looks like a retooled version of Santa's sleigh. It's equipped with all kinds of fancy firepower, as well as the ability to create items out of thin air, which, now that I think about it, would actually help to explain some of Santa's more confusing lore. Using every attack you can throw at it, we finally blow up the sleigh and defeat the scientists. This is what happens next. Well, there isn't a whole lot to this ending. I do kinda love what it attempts to do. Instead of being able to celebrate defeating the scientist who bombed our hero's hangar, we're left with the uneasy feeling that you may have just doomed the world by not listening to him. After all, they've seen the future, so it stands to reason that maybe they saw something even worse coming. And who knows, by blowing up the sleigh, you may have inadvertently doomed us all. Or maybe they were just lying. We'll never really know, and that's kinda great. I also love how interactive the credit sequence is. You can shoot down bad guys, drive different vehicles, pick up objects, and even play with the wild animals. It's so much fun they might not even notice that the pictures behind you are filling in the story and the world. There's a lot to unpack, and it might take you a few times to catch everything that's going on, which, let me tell you, is more than I can say about most arcade endings. And you know what? This is just one of the reasons why I recommend Boogie Wings to everybody. Well, everybody except for kids who still believe in Santa Claus. This is definitely not the friendliest take on the holiday season. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, the early years. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new episodes almost every week. In fact, there are more than 160 of these episodes in a playlist, so you should definitely go and binge them right now. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite Christmas video game? I'm talking about games that feature Christmas somewhere in the levels, or the backgrounds, or the story, or, somewhere in there. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back with one more episode of Superplay's Top 600 before Christmas, followed by the final 2 episodes next week. Oh, I can't believe that this month is almost over. Where did this year go? If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,